So towards the end of the regular season of the NBA, there was some rumblings within the Cleveland Cavaliers organization about players not liking to play with Collin Sexton. They called him a ball hog, and then ultimately speaking, they just don't think he is the guy that is going to lead the team to success in the future. Now, with that being said, man, recent sources have kind of been stating that the Cleveland Cavaliers are actually going to be looking to be shopping him. And if you ask me, I absolutely love this game. I think he's done a great job improving as a basketball player. But hey, I'm not the GM of the team. Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. So for today's video, we are going to be talking about Collin Sexton and some trades that would make sense for him, why exactly the Cavaliers would want to, shop the 25 point per game 22-year-old player, and what are some things that maybe led up to this. Now, before we get going on this video, I do have a question for you guys in the comment section below. Give me your perfect Collin Sexton trade. Oftentimes on these videos, I talk about my trade proposals, but I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What is the perfect trade? If you don't want to do like cap space and all that, it's fine. I just want to know what players or team that you think makes complete sense for not only, the Cleveland Cavaliers, but also whatever team he ends up getting traded to, if it does happen, right, man? And remember, guys, for every 100 likes this video gets, I will do one push-up at the end of the video. I think we got 10 push-ups today. My last video did not do very well view-wise, but hey, it was a Julius Randle video, man. It was pretty good. Go check it out. I highly recommend it. Alrighty, so I want to start off by saying this. There was once upon a time a guy that went to the Cleveland Cavaliers that some of the other players did not really like, man. And they didn't think that he really deserved, just like the reins of the team. His name was LeBron James. If you guys remember, back when LeBron was drafted in the 2003 season, there was guys like Carlos Boozer, Darius Miles saying, like, we ain't gonna let some rookie come on this team and take over, like he has to earn his stripes. And all those guys pretty much got traded right after that, right, man? So, oftentimes players can get jealous out there. And when it comes down to it, here's Collin Sexton's stats on the season, man. He averaged about 25 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds per game. Efficiency at about 48%, which is nice because the season before he averaged about 20 points. So he took more shots but kept the efficiency the same. So that's really solid, right? Sometimes more shots means less efficiency. And overall, man, his defense is pretty good. I know me personally, like, when he first came into the league, I was a little hesitant about him. I wasn't completely sure. But now when it comes down to it, man, like, I remember once upon a time when Drummond was traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Before that trade happened, I was like, please don't trade, Drummond for Collin Sexton. I would absolutely love him on the team now, man. I was wrong about that. Horrible take. But the dude, young bull out there has definitely done some things that has made me a big fan of his game, okay? So here's the thing about it, man. The management has to be careful with this one. Like, if you all remember the Cleveland Cavaliers this season, they were not a very good basketball team. They're projected for a top 5 pick. They started off pretty solid. I think they started with like a 5-0 start or something. And yeah, man, so you got to understand that when it comes down to it, there was a point where they had a damn rotation of Andre Drummond, Tristan Thompson, that was the season before. And then, now Jared Allen on the team, an unmotivated Kevin Love, Jetty Osman, who people thought was going to be like this next big thing, but really turned out not to be. They had a lot of injuries and everything. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, the term ball hog to me makes no sense. Collin Sexton is their best scorer on the team. So obviously you want the best scorer taking the most shots. I'm not exactly going out there and giving up shots for Dean Wade. Like, I ain't doing it, man. So yes, the ball hog mentality makes no sense to me. Maybe it was Kevin Love. I don't really know, man. It's not like the way that Kevin Love's been acting. It very well could be him, right? So when it comes down to it, what's another reason that the Cavaliers management would actually want to trade him? So what I was reading out there was like they like the idea of a Darius Garland and Isaac Okoro type of backcourt, which ain't bad. Darius Garland was a really solid basketball player this season, man. He averaged about 17 points, 6 assists per game. He had some injury issues and stuff like that, but overall, I really liked what Darius Garland was bringing to this team. I thought he was going to take a few more seasons to really develop, especially after missing much of his college ball with an ACL injury, I believe it was. And he had his own share of injury issues. But overall, man, like, Darius Garland looks like a future, at least an all-star point guard, in my opinion. Then Isaac Okoro, going back to, like the preseason, summer league when we watched him play, whatever it was. He was a guy that was actually knocking down some crazy shots and has really good defense. Now, ultimately speaking, going into the season, he averaged about 10 points per game, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, some okay defense out there. Maybe not the greatest efficiency, about 29% from 3. So he has some things to improve on, but just like the previous like summer league thing, whatever it was, preseason, like he looked pretty promising. So I understand that mindset, right? I do get that when it comes down to it. Not to mention they do have the 5th pick in the draft. This is a draft class that has some really solid small forwards from Jonathan Kuminga, who they're projected to get in the latest mock draft, or maybe a Scotty Barnes. So maybe they just want to have that 3-and-D type guy in a corner with the 2 spot, let Darius run things, and then, get a bucket getter at the small forward spot. I completely understand that, man. Now, what exactly is the best role for Collin Sexton? So, I've been saying for a while now, people, come off and say, like, this is, like, disrespectful, but we know that Collin Sexton is a guy that likes to shoot. He puts the shooting in shooting guard. He started off as a point guard his rookie season, but the shooting guard spot is definitely where he is going forward. So, I've been really saying, going back to his rookie season, that Collin Sexton's best role on a team is a 6-man. And I'm not talking just like he's a 6-man. I'm talking about like this generation's Jamal Crawford, Lou Williams. We all see how valuable Jordan Clarkson is to the damn Utah Jazz. I'm talking about a guy that comes off the bench, can play with a point guard or shooting guard, because obviously he can play both positions, and just get buckets, man. That can be so valuable for so many teams in the NBA. And he's still going to get his shots. You're not going to worry about him like taking shots away from the starters, because that's his job, is to come off as a 6-man and lead that second unit. I've loved that role for him forever now. And anytime I state that, people say that's disrespectful, but I actually think from a championship standpoint, it's the perfect spot for him, to really give the most value to a basketball team. So when it comes down to actually trading for him, you could kind of appear to use him as like a 1-year rental, because I do think he has a team option this season off his rookie contract, about $6 million. I don't think he's got an extension or anything like that. So, a team could get him for really cheap. Maybe you toss in a draft pick, a young player, then all of a sudden the Cleveland Cavaliers could potentially bite at that. Now, you also have the option of trading him along with Kevin Love. Kevin Love has a pretty damn large contract, but you also get Collin Sexton attached onto that. Then all of a sudden a team might take that on, especially if Sexton does go with that 6-man role. Then you can get, maybe a championship contender out there that wants Kevin Love as a starter, and then also use Collin Sexton as a 6-man, or in some cases, I'm sure there's plenty of teams he could still start for. Now, as far as the trades that I think kind of make sense, I'm not going to talk about actual, like, specific, like, players they should go for, because that could be a number of teams out there, but I do want to hear from you guys in the comment section below, like I said earlier. Like, tell me your go-to trade in this scenario. But 3 teams just for Collin Sexton that kind of makes sense for me. One would be the Houston Rockets, and when it comes down to the Houston Rockets, man, I mean, obviously they can do some more scoring out there. They have some really good young players, Kevin Porter Jr. and Christian Wood. I do think a guy like Collin Sexton could potentially really fit in well with that team. And that's a team that would be like, hey, like, we want you to take some shots out here, right? So he would still be a full-time starter and really help them get along with their rebuild. So at that point, it's going to be called, the Houston Cavaliers or the Cleveland Rockets, whatever you want to call them, with 2 of those guys being, Kevin Porter and Collin Sexton going to the team. But it does make sense. Another team that I think could make a lot of sense would be the Miami Heat. Kendrick Nunn might end up getting a pretty solid contract from a different team. Goran Dragic's up there in age, but really we all saw, with this Miami Heat Milwaukee Bucks series, just how desperate the Miami Heat were for scoring at times. So I think having a guy like Collin Sexton that could play with a number of point guards out there, he could play with Tyler Hero, he could play with Jimmy Butler, all those guys. He has, he's called the young bull, right? So he has that mentality of just putting in hard work. So I think he could work out really well on the Miami Heat team, assuming a trade is there, which there should be, because there's a lot of really good prospects on that Miami Heat team. And then the third team I was kind of thinking of is maybe the Orlando Magic, just because that's a team that for a while now could always use some scoring. And once again, he would have the green light to take as many shots as he wants to, especially having a guy like Markelle Fultz comes back, who's definitely not like a bulk shooter. That could work out pretty nicely. You have Jonathan Isaac, who's hopefully healthy by then. He's more of a defensive specialist. I can bring some offense, but once again, they're going to want some scoring on that team. So those are my 3, like, hey, I'm Collin Sexton and I still want to start type of teams, right? Now, I have 2 teams that I think could fit out nicely in maybe like a limited type of role. Number 1 being the Boston Celtics. And, yet again, he's a guy that could play with Kemba Walker. He could play with Evan Fournier. He could play with Marcus Smart. So you can use him off the bench, give them some much needed scoring off there, and that could work out pretty nicely. And the final team I have for a limited role would maybe be the the Golden State Warriors. And the reason I say the Golden State Warriors, once again, as a six-man, is because, you know, Curry is going to be 34. Klay Thompson's coming off 2 years of injuries. So being able to have Collin Sexton that can play with either one of those guys in the backcourt, I think could be extremely valuable. And just give them that, you know, new bulk scorer, six-man off the bench to help lead this team. And hopefully, well, not lead the team, I mean, lead the second unit and hopefully win a championship, right, man? So you guys let me know in the comment section below. I almost said the Collin Sexton section below. The comment section below, man. Is this stupid? Like, should the Cavaliers be like, no, we're going to keep him? Should we pay him his money? You know, I don't want to disrespect Cleveland because we ain't exactly a free agent destination here in Detroit. But I think anytime you have a 22-year-old that's dropping about 25 points per game on pretty solid efficiency and has at least like a willingness to play some defense, I would think that's a guy you probably want to hang on to. So I don't really know, like, with his $6 million contract, what type of trade value he actually has. But, you know, man, I mean, I guess a lot of teams, they would want maybe that one-year rental, and then they can kind of gauge how much they want to pay him going forward. But also, you don't want to risk the, you know, trading for him and then him walking to a different team, right? So that kind of hurts the value too, man. But I guess if the Cavaliers are not sold on paying him a long-term contract, now is the time to trade him, coming off a pretty solid season and going really into more of a rebuild for the Cleveland Cavaliers, right, man? So hopefully you guys all enjoyed this video. Be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Gonna go do my push-ups, and peace out, my friends. Okay, we got 10 push-ups to do, guys. I already got 12,000 steps in for the day, so feeling pretty good about that. But, you know, man, my arms getting a little small, guys. You guys gotta hit that like button, man. Let's get it.